Act out. To behave badly, especially in a way that seeks attention. Synonym for act out. Misbehave, behave badly, play up, act up, throw a tantrum, cause trouble. Teenagers may act out as a way of expressing frustration or seeking independence. The child often acts out when he feels neglected, throwing tantrums to get attention. The child tends to act out when feeling neglected. Talk back. To respond rudely or defiantly to someone in authority. Synonym for talk back. Answer back, retort, defy, disobey, argue with, challenge. The student was reprimanded for talking back to the teacher when asked to complete the assignment. He was grounded for a week after talking back to his parents during an argument. It's not acceptable for students to talk back to their teachers. Lash out at. To express anger or frustration by attacking verbally or physically. Synonym for lash out at. Attack, criticize, berate, rebuke, condemn, assault. He lashed out at the referee after disagreeing with a call during the game. Feeling overwhelmed, she lashed out at her colleagues during the meeting, criticizing their work unfairly. She lashed out at her colleague during the argument. Give in to. To succumb to negative impulses or behaviors. Synonym for give in to. Yield to, surrender to, submit to, succumb to, bow to, capitulate to. It's essential not to give in to destructive habits. She was trying to stick to her diet, but eventually gave in to temptation and indulged in a slice of cake. Despite knowing it was wrong, he gave in to peer pressure and tried smoking. Fall behind. To fail to keep up with a task or responsibility. Synonym for fall behind. Lag behind, trail, drop back, fail to keep up, lose ground, be left behind. Without proper training, employees may fall behind in mastering new technologies. Don't fall behind on your assignments. It can lead to problems. Due to the illness, she started to fall behind in her studies and struggled to catch up with the rest of the class. Act up. To malfunction or behave inappropriately. Synonym for act up. Misbehave, malfunction, play up, behave badly, act out, cause trouble. Her knee injury tends to act up in cold weather, causing her discomfort. The old computer started to act up again, freezing every few minutes. The computer acted up right before the important presentation. Turn against. To become hostile or unfriendly towards someone. Synonym for turn against. Become hostile, to betray, reject, oppose, revolt, against, abandon. The group turned against him when they discovered his betrayal. The community turned against the politician after learning about his involvement in the scandal. After the disagreement, she felt betrayed when her friends turned against her. Break down. To lose control emotionally or mentally. Synonym for break down. Collapse emotionally, have a breakdown, lose control, fall apart, crumble, succumb. Under the pressure of exams and personal issues, he started to break down and struggled to cope with daily tasks. After hearing the bad news, she couldn't hold back her emotions and broke down in tears. The pressure caused him to break down and cry. Give up on? To abandon hope or effort in dealing with a person or situation. Synonym for give up on, abandon, lose faith in, forsake, cease to believe in, dismiss, surrender. After years of trying to persuade him to seek help, his family reluctantly gave up on him, overcoming his addiction. Despite numerous attempts to reconcile, she finally gave up on repairing her relationship with her estranged father. It's important not to give up on someone who is struggling. Cut off. To end a relationship abruptly or to isolate oneself. Synonym for cut off. Disconnect, sever, separate, isolate, and terminate. Fed up with his toxic behavior, she decided to cut off all communication with her ex-boyfriend. After the argument, he decided to cut off contact with his friend. When she realized the friendship was one-sided, she chose to cut off ties with her unreliable friend. Act cold. To behave in a distant or unfriendly manner. Synonym for act cold. Behave aloofly, be distant, show indifference, be unresponsive, act distant, give the cold shoulder. Whenever they crossed paths at work, she noticed him acting cold and distant, as if avoiding her. She started to act cold after the disagreement. Despite their past friendship, he began to act cold towards her after their disagreement. Shut down. To close oneself off emotionally or mentally. Synonym for shut down. Close off, block out, withdraw, become unresponsive, refuse to engage, shut oneself off. Overwhelmed by stress, he shut down emotionally, refusing to discuss his feelings with anyone. He tends to shut down when faced with criticism. After the breakup, she shut down completely, withdrawing from social interactions and isolating herself at home. Run away from. To avoid or escape from a difficult situation or responsibility. Synonym for run away from. Escape from, avoid, evade, flee, dodge, shirk. Whenever faced with difficulties, he tended to run away from his problems instead of confronting them. Feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities of adulthood, she had the urge to run away from her obligations and start anew. It's not healthy to run away from your problems. Backstab. To betray someone, often behind their back. Synonym for backstab. Betray, stab in the back, double-cross, betrayal, deceive, sell out. She felt betrayed when she discovered her colleague had backstabbed her by taking credit for her ideas during the meeting. It's hurtful when friends backstab each other instead of being honest. Despite being close friends, he backstabbed her by spreading rumors behind her back. Act out of spite. To intentionally do something to harm or annoy someone. Synonym for act out of spite. Behave maliciously, act out of malice, be vengeful, act out of resentment, behave vindicatively. She broke his favorite mug out of spite during an argument. He sabotaged his co-worker's project out of spite, jealous of their recent promotion. She canceled their plans out of spite after he forgot her birthday, wanting to make him feel as hurt as she did. Turn a blind eye to. To ignore or deliberately overlook something. Synonym for. Turn a blind eye to. Ignore, overlook, disregard, pretend not to see. Ignore deliberately, dismiss. The manager decided to turn a blind eye to the employee's misconduct. Despite knowing about the unethical practices, the manager turned a blind eye to the situation, prioritizing profit over integrity. The supervisor chose to turn a blind eye to his subordinate's repeated tardiness, ignoring the issue instead of addressing it. Write off. To dismiss or consider something as unimportant. Synonym for. Write off. Disregard, ignore, dismiss, discount, invalidate, brush aside. Many critics write off his work as superficial, failing to recognize its depth and complexity. It's not healthy to write off the opinions of others without consideration. She felt frustrated when her ideas were constantly written off by her colleagues as irrelevant, undermining her contributions to the project. Tune out. To deliberately ignore or stop paying attention to someone or something. Synonym for. Tune out. Ignore, zone out, space out, shut out, blank out, disregard. Frustrated by the constant noise from the construction site, she put on headphones to tune out the disturbance and concentrate on her studies. When stressed, people may tune out important information. During the meeting, he decided to tune out the irrelevant discussion and focus on his own work. Give someone a hard time. To make things difficult or unpleasant for someone. Synonym for. Give someone a hard time. Harass, bully, torment, tease, oppress, trouble. The new employee felt that the senior staff was giving him a hard time. After the mistake in the project, her boss gave her a hard time by assigning extra tasks and closely monitoring her progress. The strict teacher gave her students a hard time with challenging assignments and high expectations. Act selfishly. To prioritize one's own interests without considering others. Synonym for. Act selfishly. Prioritize oneself. Put oneself first. Be self-centered. Be egocentric. Be self-serving. Act inconsiderately. She acted selfishly by taking the last piece of cake without considering if others had already had a slice. It's crucial to avoid acting selfishly in a team setting. Instead of helping her friend in need, he acted selfishly by refusing to lend a hand. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.